There's three things that I've focused on to get over 197 motocross and enduro riders race fit. So to get straight to it, first thing that we worked on is strength. Second thing that we work on is cardio. And the third thing that we work on is nutrition and fueling. So why do we work on each of those? And then more importantly for you guys, how do you actually get them better and improve them? So first of all, to start off with why. So strength. The stronger that I'm able to get a rider, the lighter the bike feels for them. So if you look at like a motocross bike and enduro bike, they're about 100 kilos, okay, at minimum. And then you've got rider weight on top of that. So if you've got a rider at 80 kilos and we've got a bike at roughly 100 kilos, and we combine those two together, that's a total of 180 kilos. So for a motocross rider, they need to be able to wrestle around 180 kilos for half an hour or 20 minutes. For an enduro rider, they need to wrestle around 180 kilos for 3 hours plus. So the stronger I can get a rider, the lighter the bike will feel for them. And if I can get the bike to feel lighter for them, the less energy they'll use while they're riding. So instead of getting fatigued and running out of energy at the 10-minute mark for a motocross event, now they run out of energy at the 15, 20, 25, 30-minute mark. Same for enduro. If we can get a rider stronger and the bike feels lighter and they use less energy in that first hour, then they've got more energy left for hour 2, hour 3, and hour 4. So that's really the first thing that I focused on. The second thing that I focused on with the cardio is there's two types of cardio. Okay, there's your long distance cardio and there's short distance cardio. So long distance cardio is where you get your body good at moving at a consistent intensity for a long period of time. Okay, so it's like doing an enduro ride for 3 hours, just being on the motocross bike for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour, whatever the length of motos are that you do. Now, that's the long distance cardio, okay? Getting your body moving for that period of time. But if we take a closer look within those time domains, okay, within a half an hour motocross race, within a 3 hour enduro, it's not a consistent intensity, okay? It's not like going for a run or going for a walk for half an hour. There's fluctuations in intensity because you've got parts of the track that take a lot more effort and take a lot more energy than other parts of the track. So our body's got to be really, really good at going hard for short periods of time, like let's say a really sandy whoop section, takes a lot of effort, really fighting the bike, takes a lot of energy. But then you might have the next section where you go around a corner and it's a bit of a softer berm and you can sit down and you can rest for a little bit before you get to the next section. So I always try with our riders to make sure that they're really, really good at being able to ride very hard for very short periods of time, but then be able to recover quickly where they can to go hard again. So it's just having a balance between the longer distance stuff and shorter distance stuff and making sure we've got both of those. So I always make sure that's part of what we do. The third thing with the nutrition side is fueling and energy. So it doesn't matter how good your fitness is. If you're not fueling yourself and your body doesn't have fuel that it needs to be able to operate, your cardio and strength isn't going to show out on the bike. Okay, you're not going to see the leaps of improvement that you're after because it's like trying to ride your bike with no fuel, right? It doesn't matter how good the motor is and how much work you've had done and how big it is and all the rest of it if it doesn't have the right fuel in there for it to be able to perform. And your body's the same way. So I always make sure one of the first things that we do is just making sure that we've got a structure there with how the rider fuels themselves for a ride day and for a race day and what they have before a race, what they have during a race and what they have an after race. Because if we can get that stuff consistent, then I know that their body is going to be turning up to ride day and race day with consistent energy each time. One of the problems I find there is riders don't have a strategy. So some days they'll have a bacon egg burger, some days they skip breakfast, some days they have a bag of snakes, some days they have glucose tablets. So it's like every time they go to a race, they rock up with different levels of energy. So some races are good, some races are shit, and some races are in between. What I try and do is even that out as much as I can so we can get consistent performance and get them turning up consistently for every ride and every race. Now, for those of you that are new to the channel, my name is Andrew Hammer. Struggled with riding and racing fitness for about 14 seasons of racing. So hopefully by making these videos, you're not going to be one of those riders. To get into how to work on each of these areas, I'll tackle that now. So how do you get stronger without getting too big and without getting arm pumping, without being big and bulky? So what I work on with our riders is we do a lot of multi-joint movements. Okay, we use things like back squats with the barbell, deadlifts with the barbell, overhead presses with the barbell, bent over rows with the barbell. And the reason we use a barbell is because the multi-joint movements we use with the bar get our whole body working together from head to toe. Okay, we get every muscle group working from head to toe. And the great thing about that is when we go and ride, our body's doing the same thing. Okay, every muscle from head to toe is also working when we go and ride, which is what makes riding and racing so hard and so taxing. So we want to try and get the body working from head to toe, but we also want to challenge it a bit more. And the way that we challenge it is by using weights. Now, by using the multi-joint movements, because we're spreading the load from throughout the whole body from head to toe, the weight we're lifting is not concentrated to one muscle group. So if we're doing things like curls or tricep extensions, where we're isolating a muscle, all of that weight is going to one muscle, and we're breaking it down. And what that means is it grows back bigger, which is what we don't want. So what we want to do is we just want to get the muscle stronger without making it too big. And the way we do that is by using movements that use the whole body from head to toe. And then we start to load them up with some weights. So that's what we focus on with the strength stuff. The cardio stuff, so how do we train the longer distance and the shorter distance? So to train the longer distance stuff, the best way to do that is out on the bike. So if you're doing motocross and you do half an hour motos, when you go and practice doing half an hour motos. If you're an enduro rider and you do 3-hour enduros, when you go and ride for 2 or 3 hours at a time. So it's a good way to build up your long distance cardio, but it's also a great way to get your body comfortable on the bike and build up some more bike time while you're riding as well, and maximize the time you've got out there. Shorter distance cardio, the way we can work on that, the way we do work on that is through using interval training in our gym work during the week. So you can use things like, or like an example workout that we might start off with our riders would be like on the rower. We might do say 30 seconds flat out on the rower as hard as they can go, followed by 30 seconds of complete rest, and do that for 10 rounds. Okay, so the total workout is 10 minutes. Now the goal here is not to train for a long period of time. The goal here is to train the intensity. Okay, so like the example I gave before where you've got like a really tough whoop section followed by like a loamy berm where you can get a bit of a rest. What we're trying to do is replicate those changes in the track with our rowing. Okay, and the way we do that is by using the intervals, but you have to make sure that the intervals are relatively short, and you have to make sure that there's plenty of rest in there to make sure you can go hard for the next interval. Otherwise, if you just row for 10 minutes, then we're focusing on the longer distance cardio, not the shorter distance stuff that we need to work on. So that's how we do the cardio. Nutrition-wise, so we do a couple of things for nutrition. I try and make sure everything is as structured as it can be without making it too rigid where riders can't still enjoy their life at the same time. So for during the week, we structure out all of their meals, okay? So like, breakfast, lunch, dinner, making sure that they're eating proteins, fats, carbs for each meal. But for you guys, if you just want to just focus on the riding side for now and not having everything nailed, when you go and ride, we make sure that they have a very clear plan of what they need to do. And so what we do there is we do 4 hours before they go and ride, increase complex carbs. So sweet potatoes, brown rice, quinoa, we're trying to get more of these foods in, which are our fuel tank for our ride. About half an hour before, we're having about 30 to 45 grams of simple carbs, okay, which is sugars. Could be a carb gel, could be half a bottle of Powerade, could be a couple of pieces of fruit. Once I've done that, then they go and ride, okay. For a motocross event, obviously there's nothing through the race. For an enduro race, every hour, we're getting in about 20 grams or 15 grams of protein, and we're getting 30 to 45 grams of carbs. So it could be putting protein in their camelback, could be having a quick protein shake with some Powerade every hour, or it could be having a protein shake with a carb gel every hour. And then once they finish the race, then it's just trying to get a few calories in, proteins, fats and carbs, good quality food to replace all the energy that they've lost, help their body to rebuild. If it's a 2-day event, that will get them ready for day 2 or day 3, however many days they're doing. Otherwise, it's just going to have them ready for Monday so they can get back into training. You should be able to train the day after you go and do a ride or race, okay? Even if it's just light on the lighter side, you shouldn't feel crippled for 3, 4, 5 days every time you go for a ride. You should feel fresh and ready to rock and roll.